Hello, we on camera. This is Charles, the owner and CEO of Ravery Sports. Thank you for joining us this week for the Ravery Sports podcast, the Baltimore Sports Podcast. Thank you for joining us. No matter how you're doing it here, you're watching us right now, you're watching us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or Twitch. Thank you very much. Twitter has really been growing here lately. More and more people following us on Twitter, so thank you very much for that as well. Just you can watch us on Twitch. Twitch are going to be doing some things there soon when football season starts, so keep your eye on that. YouTube as well, so as well on there and on our Facebook page as well. So thank you very much for joining us. More business. ravorisports.company.site. If you want to buy any of our merchandise, it is on our website. So definitely keep that in mind. You can definitely get all of our products and merchandise on there on the site. So definitely keep that in mind. Ravens jerseys, Ray Lewis, Lamar Jackson, Orioles hats, Orioles t-shirts. We got a calendar t-shirt. Plenty of stuff on the website on there as well. All the items you can go ahead and get on there as well. Genesis Notary Services /Facebook.com. Book a session right on the website. Yes, you can. You can go ahead and book it right on the website there. Genesis Notary Service /Facebook.com. All right. And also to our Ravery Sports Core. I now have a date in August. So you'll see me out there in August, out there. White Post, Frederick, Hagerstown, and in Baltimore as well this summer. All right. Thank you for that. Let's get down to business here in the business of talking about football. So we're going to go ahead and get that squared away for you there on camera. And so we're going to talk about our new additions to the team. All right. So we've talked a little bit about the Ravens as well, about what happens in the offseason. So what is going on is I want to focus in on what is going on as far as what the team goes, what it's going to look like. Right now they're in minicamp. We'll go over that a little bit. We just recently had a minicamp. We'll go over that a little bit. How the guys looked a little bit in minicamp. But what does the team look like now? Okay, so we're going to talk about the new arrivals, what they look like recent years, and then we're going to talk about guys, the rookies, etc. What the team figures to look like. We'll talk a little bit about departures here. So you see the new addition, right? Ronnie, Bobby, Ricky, Mike. I think I got that all right. The original group, new addition, Rob Tresvan there. The new additions to the Ravens roster. Okay, my wife asked me, like, why don't you have this version? This is the original new addition. All right, these are the original guys that were there in the group in 1984 when I first heard of when I was little. All right, what we're talking about new additions here, but let's talk about what went out the door. Okay, because that matters. When you're talking about what's adding to the team, why they left and what went out the door. And so what went out the door? Calais Campbell was going ahead. He was released. He signed with Atlanta Falcons. He's going to be playing on the young Falcons team. Be like the leader and ambassador for them here at the end of his career. Tristan Colon, a little bit of a surprise. Non-tendered by the Ravens. Restricted free agent. Didn't bring him back. They non-tendered him. I thought Tristan Colon got a little bit of a raw deal with the Ravens. I liked him whenever he played. I thought he played fairly well when he got a chance to play. He didn't play a lot, but I don't remember him being a liability anytime he was in there. A little bit of a surprise that he got tendered, picked up quickly by the Jets. Josh Oliver, big surprise last year. Really outplayed Nick Boyle, who's also gone, who was released earlier, and became really the third tight end. Charlie Kolar was also there, was injured. So not there was a guy who was maybe expected to be maybe if they carried 4 tight ends, he was good. He got a big contract with Minnesota, no longer there. Ben Powers, after years of trying to look for a left guard, um, having that issue, Ben Powers finally stepped up, played outstanding last year, got a huge contract with Denver, signed with the Broncos. He's going to be playing with Russell Wilson. And Chuck Clark. Um, Good kudos to Chuck Clark. Chuck Clark was one of my favorite guys in recent years. Chuck Clark actually held off Kyle Hamilton, who was drafted in the first round, actually stayed with the team, actually kept the starting job, was traded for a 7th-round pick for the Jets. So they went out the door. Okay? So now we got those guys get out. What do we have now? What came in? Nelson Aguilar. 31 receptions, 362 yards, played last year with New England, former first-round pick. I have absolutely no problem with him as a 3rd or 4th receiver on the depth chart. That's probably where he should be. They brought him in a few years in New England. New England had kind of the same problem the Ravens had. The receiving core was just lousy. Period. In New England, that's the year when they had Cam Newton. So they brought in Nelson Aguilar, they brought in Kendrick Bourne. He kind of got moved back on the depth chart a little bit because of the emergence of Jacoby Myers. So brought him in, did like you see the stat not bad. But for a 3rd or 4th guy, no problem all with this. Nelson Aguilar has some problems with drops, no question about it. But again, he's not your number 1 guy, veteran guy, experience. If a guy has to miss 2 games or one of these other receivers has to miss a couple games, you could bring in Nelson Aguilar, and he was the first guy to come in. He'll be fighting for that spot, the 3 or 4 spot, 4 or 5 even maybe, with Devin Duvernay. So I think he'll play probably, if I had to guess, 4th receiver probably for Aguilar. He can stay healthy. The big addition. Finally, we have been waiting. We got it. Odell Beckham Jr. adding to the receiving core. You see his numbers: 44 receptions, 507 yards, 5 TDs in 2021. That's when we last saw him play. Hurt at the end of the game. I think it was in the Super Bowl with the Rams. Didn't play on last year. Ready to go here to start this year. This is your number 1 receiver. $15 million they brought him in. Well, big investment, usually investment that the Ravens really don't make. Boom or bust here. Don't know exactly what you're getting with Odell. You're hopefully that you're getting the guy that we've seen so many years, for so long. When he's broken with the Giants, he was one of the top 5 receivers in the NFL. A lot of injuries throughout the years. Some issues he's had off the field, some issues in. I really question the only problem I have with this is, first of all, I have no problem with the go for it. You had to do something. You got to go ahead and improve your receiving core, which was a fallacy. So you definitely did that with the Odell Beckham. I don't know how well he's going to get along with John Harbaugh. He is this diva receiver thing is not Harbaugh's thing. I kind of said that a couple times, but I'm questioning it. Talent on the field, I'm not questioning. This guy can play football if he's healthy. And that's the thing. So is Odell going to be healthy enough to play all season? He's healthy enough to play. He's going to get 1,200, 1,300 yards. He's going to get fed the ball as much as he needs to. No issues there. I like it. I love it a lot. It's gutsy. It's gutsy in the sense it's a departure, but money-wise, it's not that gutsy. 1 year, they just flat out release him if it doesn't work. If he gets outplayed by one of the rookies or whatever, gets hurt. They lost some money, but not a big loss. Interesting to see how Beckham does. Really interesting to see. Zay Flowers was taken in the first round for the Ravens. Okay, so Zay Flowers is going to be in the wide receiver mix. I think when we start the depth chart, I don't think he'll be first on the depth chart. I think he'll be your 3rd receiver. Bateman will probably be the starter at the start, I would think. Flowers, and I mean, a lot of times this kind of Ravens thing, or a lot of teams even, they kind of ease him in, bring him in easy, then go ahead and then kind of go as a starter. With three veteran guys here like Aguilar, like Beckham, like Bateman, I don't think they're going to start him out right away. Faye Flowers is going to be a factor, though. He's not going to just sit on the bench and sit on the pine a lot. He's going to go ahead and play significant starts in the first week. He is enormously fast. If you haven't seen it, he runs routes. Not a great route runner yet by any stretch, but throw the ball deep. I'm sure that's what they want to do. They have in mind some of the things they had with Marquise when you look at his college. That's for sure. So that's a thing that they're going to go ahead and take over here. Trent Simpson, interesting here. How much is he going to play? Patrick Queen looks like he's going to be playing with us. Saying all the right things at camp, I'm not focused on that, blah, blah, blah. They drafted a guy at his position. So I think there's a possible move here that they may play more Trent Simpson. Possible. Most likely, he sits behind Patrick Queen this year. That's my prediction. I don't think there's going to be a deal for Queen that you're going to get that they're going to go ahead and go out and do. It would surprise me if I think if it's a high enough draft, like a third or second round or something like that, they'll go out and get a Patrick Queen. But I don't think that's there for them. I think really Patrick Queen, Trent Simpson is going to sit. Trent Simpson, I think, is going to be your starter for the next couple of years, though. So I think this is why we want to focus on him. Patrick Queen, I think, was going to be gone after this year, and you're going to have to start Trent Simpson. You're going to have to start somebody next to Roquan. This is the guy I think you're going to be grooming with that. We're not going to do all the draft picks, but the ones this year definitely with specific playing time. Tavius Robinson is going to he's going to be in that outside linebacker mix. Not a strength on the team. So definitely is a guy here with his type of speed who can emerge. I think it's open. Adafiowe, a little disappointing. David Ajabo coming off the injury, and you got a rookie here, Tavius Robinson. Wouldn't shock me. I don't think he'll be the one to start, but he has the opportunity to do that. He absolutely has the opportunity to do that. We still don't know Justin Houston's stats. We're here in June. You would think by now they would have signed him or something. I haven't heard anything with him or Marcus Peters or JPP or anything. It's been very quiet. Possibly they're waiting until after these OTAs, this minicamp, to go ahead and decide that. See how these guys look. See if I take it. That's kind of why I'm doing this here, especially. Hey, he has a chance here to blow the doors off, and maybe you know what? We don't need to bring Justin, so we need to bring JP. So, good opportunity for him to be in that mix for wide receiver. Here's another guy who's going to be in the competition. Now, this is, I think, less likely. He's a fifth-round pick, but I think there is an opportunity for him, Kai Blue Kelly. Kai Blue Kelly was a very good corner at Stanford. He's not blazing speed. I like DBs that are really, really fast. More the big type, the physical type, the Jimmy Smith, the guy that, lay hands on, kind of disrupt the route. That's more what he is. I think, though, there's an opening there. It doesn't seem like they're doing anything with Marcus Peters. So it could be Kai Blue Kelly. It could be a guy like this going ahead and starting there for you. I think that's not impossible. You see last year, you had Pepe Williams kind of struggled at times. Justin Davis definitely struggled. I think there's an opening there for Kai Blue Kelly to come in and play right away. So we'll see how that goes as well. Kai Blue Kelly, definitely, that's the name you want to keep an eye on. Who did they actually sign? Rock Ya-Sin. So he's the sign actually played with Las Vegas. All right, I actually said Las Vegas. Every time I see the other, I say Oakland. All right, so Rock Sin. I'm trying to like this acquisition. I just can't get behind it. He seems like just an average-ish corner. Looking at all his stats, not a lot of picks. PFF grades not great. Um, not particularly. He just looks like okay. By the depth chart, he's your number one corner, right? You're gonna have Marlon Humphrey, and you're gonna have him. He is going to get tested a lot. There's a big drop off between Rocky Sin and uh, Marcus and Marlon Humphrey. Humphrey, when you had Marcus Peters in there, he was I don't know if he was as good of a corner even last year, but he had that element of taking the ball away that would kind of they're if he's starting, they're definitely not even gonna look for yours. So that's a thing, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Let's see how it goes. The Ravens obviously believe that this guy is good enough to start with everything they've done. So we'll definitely see how that one goes. One more, Angelo Blackson. So he signed with the Bears last year. Now signed from the Bears last year with the Ravens. Defensive end, which is what you'll see him as. This is defensive line rotation guy. Veteran guy. He's not obviously a replacement on the level of a Calais Campbell, but rotation guy. He's a guy that you can kind of plug in, play hard, lots of size, typical 3-4 defensive end type. Maybe you slide him inside a little bit of time, but rotational guy. He'll be fighting for the roster on a rotational basis. This is a classic thing of, okay, you got young guys there, you got other guys there. Can he beat these guys out? Can he go ahead and figure it out? Angelo Blackson on there. So, the new additions to the Ravens roster. So, definitely keep those guys in mind. You haven't seen them, that you're going to see them. Who we're most excited to see, obviously, for me, that's Odell Beckham. And not just on the field, off the field. How does he get along with Harbaugh? Young guys really seem to like him, respect him. How does he get along? How much does he have left in the tank? He's going to be 30 years old. What are we getting with Odell, despite all the excitement that we have? That's going to be the most interesting. Rocky Sin is probably the biggest concern. I don't know. I don't think this is going to work on first glance. I don't think so. Not him as a number one corner, as a starting corner for you. I don't know about that. And it looks like that's what they're going to do. You still have Brandon Stevens. You still have. I think there's still room for these young guys to emerge and do it. I'm a little surprised that they didn't want to sign Marcus Peters still, or another corner, another veteran. They may do that. But again, that's why you have these OTAs and everything like that, because you want to go ahead and take a look at guys before you sign them. So you go to the OTAs and you look at some of these guys and you say, okay, this isn't going to work. Or, hey, this guy is much better than we thought. So see guys running with the first team. You want to see Tavius Robinson run with the first team, or Cody Kelly run with the first team. See if they beat up, and then okay, you go ahead and you sign your vets, and then say, all right, hey, we need help here, or hey, we don't need help. We're releasing guys. Delvin Hayes, like for example, just got cut. Former like 5th round pick, something like moves like that in Medicare. So we're going to talk a little bit about OTAs that were going on. So organized team activities that are going on. I don't know how much you take away from OTAs a lot. The big thing I look for with those, with the organized team activities, one thing is who's on the field and who is there. How do rookies look? You always look at that when you see young guys like that. How do rookies look with veterans, and also to how do the new faces, right? So how does the veteran guys look for the first time when they're running with the first team of seven? Concern I had Bateman reading that he is not kind of like going half speed. Now again, it's OTA, so no reason to rush. But like again, like to see him full go. Like to see him full go. At least now. So yeah, he's kind of doing some drills and things like that. Little bit of concern for me. But again, may not be the end of the world here early. Just something that's going on that is precautionary. Uh, Decent starts for Jay Flowers for the most part. Um, Conflicting reports that I read. One saying that he wasn't so great always, and the other was great. Look, so on the field, working with Lamar Jackson, throwing those deep balls to Lamar Jackson. I think that's a good start. Jordan Swan reported it on the Facebook page, Twitter page, that he had been signed from JMU, a small school guy. Signed that they got an interception his first day. Like I said, cornerback spot is open. That other spot is open as far as I'm concerned. So anybody over there has an opportunity to move because the starters, I think, are still going to be decided like that. No, as far as I know, at least of this, and I'm reporting this a little earlier than usual, major injuries to report. So that's fantastic as well. Like, you always hate to see it like in this situation, like organized activity. If anybody really gets hurt or is a serious injury, you always hate to kind of see that. All right. So we want to go ahead and take a look at that. We'll go ahead and continue and monitor the OTAs as well for the teams and the Ravens. How are going to the Ravens look going forward? All right. I have not done this in a while, but we're going to do it now. I haven't done it. We're going to get ready for the NFL season. Big Five. So we're going to do our NFL Big Five. During the NFL season, we do the 5 biggest matchups of the week that are not Ravens games. This week, here in the off season, we're going to do the 5 biggest matchups of the season here. All right. So the 5 biggest matchups we're looking forward to of the season. First game, week 1. Okay, Big 5. Super Bowl winner gets the first Thursday night game of the season. So we usually pick a different team to go ahead and play. Look who's in this game, guys. The Detroit Lions. How about that? They were in the last game last year. Good for them. Beating Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. Maybe that game actually decided the fate of Rodgers in Green Bay. They maybe make the playoffs and go make a run, but the Lions beat them and eliminated them. Lions might be the favorite in their division without Rodgers. So it'll be interesting to see how they do week 1 against the defending Super Bowl champions. Could the Chiefs be better than they were last year? Played a lot of young guys. They were supposed to be rebuilding. Got rid of Top Kill, got rid of their receivers, got rid of a bunch of their guys. Now these guys are a little more experienced. McDuffie, etc. Trent McDuffie in the secondary, etc. How are they going to do in this next season here with more experience? I think the Chiefs might win. I think it's a little much to say anybody's going to win all 17, but they can really. I think it's more. They really have teams in the rear view. I think the gap between the Mahomes and a lot of these teams is big. So I like the Chiefs here. in the first game here, as so far. All right, so we're going to redo it when the season starts. Aaron Rodgers, definitely looking forward to seeing him playing a lot of games against the Cowboys. His first one against the Cowboys as a member of the New York Jets. So, Aaron Rodgers, how is he going to do against the Cowboys and the Jets? Interesting to see how the Jets look this year. I think they're right there with Buffalo. I think Buffalo might be slipping a little bit. And I think the Jets might be in prime position. A lot of pressure on Rodgers, though, to go ahead and get that squared away in New York. A lot of faith in him, a lot of money. They gave him Randall Cobb, they gave him Sarg, they gave him a lot of these guys. Gave him a lot what he wanted. Their defense, though, the bigger deal, as big a deal almost, their defense is really good. And I really think they can beat Dallas in week 2. I like them in this game. Dallas, I think it's harder to get excited about Dallas with that bad hand. But I think there's enough there in Dallas to go ahead and really become one of the better teams in the NFC. I think the NFC isn't as strong as a whole. I think there's 2 teams maybe ahead of them, but they're not as strong as a whole. So I think Dallas, good test for them early as well. Chiefs in week 11 playing Eagles. So these 2 teams were in the Super Bowl. So we always have a Super Bowl rematch. Jalen Hurts now flush with money, flush with the big bank account, flush with a lot of talent. Can they overcome the Chiefs? Talent-wise, they're fantastic. They should be beating the Chiefs. And can they go win a late season game in Arrowhead, tough place to play, and beat Kansas City in week 11? What would the records be like if those teams? I think these 2 teams are absolutely in the top tier in both of their conferences. Usually you don't say that next season when a team goes back. I definitely think the Chiefs are right there. The Eagles are right there. Big game, week 11. Bengals and Jaguars in week 13. Sorry about that. The screen issue. Bengals and Jaguars, week 13. I think I got the wrong graphic right there. Got Bills. But it's the Jags that they're playing in week 13. And how is it going to look there? Let's talk about the Bills since we got the Brown. Let's talk about that. Bengals got Orlando Brown on their team. Got a lot of rid of their secondary guys, focusing more on offense. They can go ahead. I think they'll do well against the Bills. The Jaguars, I think, are going to come up in the division. I think, can they bar into the elite teams in the AFC? Is this the year for Trevor Lawrence to really ascend to the top tier? I think he's considered top 5 in the league right now. So we'll see how that goes. And week 17, the Chiefs and the Bengals playing in Arrowhead. Wow, what a good game to get here in the last week of the season. No dog game here. Not the last week, but the week before the last game on week 17. I think these are, you could argue these are the 2 best teams in the entire NFL. When you talk about the Bengals and the Chiefs. The Bengals might be as good as any team in the NFL. Really interesting to see how Orlando Brown does. Because the one weakness that they've had is their O-line. Joe Burrow's been beat up a lot. Now you're in a situation where you have a left tackle that's really good. And he understands the Chiefs leaving Kansas City. So keep that in mind. Former Raven understands our team. Understands. Great matchup here, week 17. So there you go. There is our big 5. Haven't done that in a while. And then we reviewed the Big 5 matchups here when the season starts in the NFL. So enjoy all the games when they start. Okay, so let's go ahead and go over this. Now, I'm recording this right after the game 2 here. So the Heat were successful in the last one. Whenever the Heat shoot the ball well, they are definitely in this series. I think the Heat wins this series. I kind of said that a couple times. When you win a title, you get it from different areas. And it was Jordan Love starting the game. They kind of got Kyle Lowry kind of contributes just a little bit. Whenever they shoot the ball well, they do well. Nuggets, talent-wise, should be great. Jamal Murray is sensational. There's no question about that. Amir Gordon, I think, on any other team, probably maybe not any other team, but a lot of teams would be a starter. They looked a little nervous. I kind of thought that would be the case in game 1. It definitely was the case in game 2. They looked a little, and that's my concern. And that's not unusual. Okay, when you have teams that haven't been in the finals yet, that's a little unusual. That's not unusual that they haven't been there before. They haven't been this far before. They looked a little center. Heat are not going to be nervous. They've been there. Spolster's been there. Butler's been. A lot of these guys, they've been there. And that's why I like them in this series. I think they can kind of hold it together more than the Nuggets can. Good first 2 games here, so we'll definitely check that out as we keep going. Heat and the Nuggets here, I gotta admit, liking Jimmy Butler in the play. I love a guy also in any sport that comes up the way he does. That comes through the ranks. Becomes a superstar, and it becomes a superstar, and it wasn't supposed to happen, and people don't believe. Kind of like what we're seeing a lot of times with Lamar Jackson. Even though he's played well, there's still a bunch of people that still saying, he didn't do it right, or he didn't, this stuff. I kind of heard that throughout the years with Jimmy Butler. All right, I want to touch on this topic here. Graphic. Former Raven. It's more of a media thing here, but more of a media thing here. But he is a former Raven, so in a way, it's kind of Ravens topic, but a lot of people have seen him disputed. So Shannon Sharpe, it was announced that since our last podcast that he is going to be leaving Undisputed. He's going to be leaving after the NBA Finals. Apparently, he is not going to be on Undisputed on FS1. I believe that's their highest rated show, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure if it's that or The Herd is their highest rated show, but that is their show. There are 5 relevant shows, I think, in television still. Sports media, because the 5th one is really not a TV show quite yet. But there are 5 in my opinion. There are First Take. There is The Herd. There's Inside the NBA. There's the McAfee Show, Pat McAfee, and there's Undisputed. Those are the 5 that are the biggest ones, the most viral clipped, etc. When I heard he was leaving Undisputed, I do want to touch on this a little bit. I knew what everybody was going to say. They were going to say, "Well, he hates Skip Bayless, and Skip's I don't like him," and all. Everybody was going to do it. I knew for sure everybody's gonna do that because they had a little bit of a falling out, a little bit of a whatever reason. That's not what I see. That's not it. Here's one thing I want to say about that too. It's a debate show. They're not supposed to like each other. All right, everybody sees it, not understand it. He's there not to like Skip. They're not supposed to be. They're not supposed to do. They're not supposed to do any of that stuff. You know what I mean, it was kind of the case after a while with Skip and Skip Bayless and Stephen A. Smith, and it was kind of the case with. It's definitely, I think, over here became the case with Tony Kornheiser and Michael Woodball, but they're not supposed to like each other. Okay, so that I hear all the time. It's like, Jesus Christ, it's a debate show. They're supposed to disagree. All right. That being said, he's leaving for money. His club Shay Shay, I think I've been watching it, and it's clearly to me been going in a different direction away from sports. He's been interviewing Steve Harvey. He's been interviewing Candy Burris. He's been interviewing other people outside of the media, outside of the sports world. So I think that's more what it is than anything that's going on with Skip Bayless. I think the Skip Bayless thing was about 10% of it. I think that was some of it. I think if anything, if he hadn't been doing this before, and I don't know if he was, but it kind of made him reassess things. This is going on with Skip. But I think it's the people. I knew everybody was going to do that because of the phone. But that's not what this is. He's going to do Club Shay Shay. He can maybe go to a dating format. And I think he's going to other things outside of sports. I think he might actually do more of a talk show or something like that. And I think that's what this is. I don't think this is anything else. But I knew everybody was going to say he doesn't like Skip. And I have and personally, I have no idea if he likes Skip Bayless. Skip Bayless, if you watch his podcast, and him and Stephen A. Smith have that comment. They don't care at all if they're right. They don't want to be right. They want people to watch. They want people to comment. They don't. They want to use WWE term. They want to be the heel. Okay. They want to be the Roman Reigns, the Triple H character. They don't want to be. They don't lose any sleep when people don't like them. They watch the show good. So. Looking forward to seeing what Shannon does next. Leading Undisputed. Next, Pat McAfee's show. I'm going to talk about this too. Is going to ESPN I don't know exactly when in the fall. I'm sure. I don't have a specific date for that. But his YouTube show, which I think is the biggest online sports show I think I've ever seen. His interview with Aaron Rodgers, I think he had 400,000 views when Aaron made his decision. That's beyond crazy. Some backlash here. I don't understand the animus to why some fans have to ESPN. I've heard over and over they're woke and they're. I don't know what they're ever talking. I mean, that's kind of crazy to me. McAfee is getting a lot of money here. They're saying $10 million. It's more than $10 million. It has to be. If the numbers are reported at FanDuel, he was getting $350 million. He would not take a show at ESPN for $10 million, his show, with that. So I'm sure it's more. They're kind of reporting to him, but I'm sure it's more. It's closer to 30. Why would he take the job? A couple things. They're going to say, he's kind of said publicly on the show that he's doing a lot of things. He wants more time to do family things. He's so busy and running the show and running business of it. He can go to an entity where he can get some help with that and his back end and all that. I kind of buy that. That's probably part. Again, like Shannon and Bayless, partially true. That's partially true. I don't think that's the main reason. Um, Money's not the reason. He's gonna make money regardless. So money is definitely not the reason here. And this is just my opinion. I haven't heard this or saw this anywhere. What I think it is he's got his eye on the other things he can do with ESPN. I think was the thing. I don't think there's if he's at ESPN, if he's working for them, then he has a shot. I know he tried to get the Monday Night Football job before. He said that he's trying to get a Monday Night Football job. He's been working college games. I think he wants to do other things at ESPN that he can't do as an independent at his show. And I think that's the bigger thing why he's taking his show there and why he's interested. The whole bit of of him wanting more time, I don't know about that. Like somebody who's making what he's making, you could just hire more staff. If you're making $30 million a year, you could just hire more people if you want. So so I kind of think that I'm thinking that he wants to be on Monday Night Football, particularly, or be on College Game Day, do college play-by-play, do other things at ESPN, maybe move into different types of things. He could do different types of things where if he's independent, he can't do that. So I think those are the reasons why he's at ESPN. That's just an opinion. But I think those things. Money makes these decisions. I think the first is with Shannon Sharp, I think it was more money, where I think here it's just opportunity. He wants to do other things other than the show. So, wanted to go over those two guys there. Very important guys in sports media and to see what they do and what they do next. Talking about baseball summer. So we're not just going to go over the Orioles. We're going over their minor league team as well. Last week we did the Norfolk Tides. This week we're going to do the Bowie Bay Sox. Now again, we're going to put some stats up. We're doing this. These stats are as of June 4. So keep that in mind. But I'll kind of give you an idea of what's going on here with the Bay Sox. Now, the Bay Sox haven't had nearly as good a season as the Norfolk Tides, where they've been kind of running away with things. They're really struggling in a lot of things here. So, team not as good. I can tell you, though, there is some hope. There is some good prospects here on the team here and some good players, period. Last week, we talked about Josh Lester, what a great season he's having with Norfolk, and he gets called up to the majors. So, that's a good that kind of tells you performing well at these levels still matters, regardless of your prospect status. Guy's first major league hit, so good for him, Josh Lester. So, Bowie Bay Sox. My guy, Heston Kjerstad. I think the only reason he's still a Double-A, if he hadn't had the injury, he would have been already in the majors. He's been fantastic. 310 average. 11 home runs, 23 RBIs. I think definitely. I'm a little surprised he's still even in Double-A. But I think because of the injury, he kind of had the setback. He's not going to stay there very long. I think by the end of next season, could see him at the major league level. Maybe get a cup of coffee at the end of the year, what they call a cup of coffee, like a very short major league stint, maybe in September or something like that. We could see him, but you never know about that. Kobe Mayo. Kobe Mayo has been one of the top 100 prospects in baseball, kind of in and out of there at third base. Been playing a lot of third base for them. 7 home runs, 25 RBIs. He is solid. Kobe Mayo, if you see him, he's like huge. He's like 6'5", real tall, skinny. I wouldn't even say skinny, but kind of slender. Build really hits a ton. I think he's gonna wind up at first base. I think him being young, playing at third base, I think he's gonna wind up at first base. I think that's eventually the trajectory of him He's decent enough at third base, though. He's not. I don't think he's a liability third base. Maybe trying on left field as well. I don't know if in long term that's the best spot. Here's a guy not a top prospect but playing well. Cesar Prado. Hopefully I'm saying that right. He's 24 years old, 7 home runs, 25 RBIs, 348 average. So he's really been hitting the ball well. Not a big guy. Okay, he's about 5'9". Uh, Looks like a slack hitter. I like to see the guys with that power when they're small like that. Whole body gets into the ball there. I don't think he's a power hitter if he goes any higher, but certainly um, I like his bat speed. I like his bat speed. I like the way he swings. I love his swing when I've seen him. He has almost no uppercut to him whenever I've seen it. Like everything, all the power is like generated from a nice good swing. TT Bowen, 25 years old, 4 home runs, 9 RBIs, 278 average. I think he's more of a career minor leaguer. He's bounced around a bit, but he's been good for him this year. Definitely could see him at Norfolk as well. Dante Williams, only hitting 200 as you see here, Dante Williams, but he is hitting, got those 7 stolen bases. Very fast, very good in the outfield. Has to develop more as a hitter. I think that's the thing that's keeping him in the minors. Develop a little bit more. He's got to develop more. He's got to hit better than 200. But very good player for them. Got a lot of potential. I've seen a little bit. I have seen him. He seems to be a lot of potential there. K. Povich, one of the top pitching prospects in the Orioles rotation, in the Orioles system. Struggled a little bit this year. Again, you're seeing pitching prospects kind of struggle. K. Povich left hand, 4.5, 5.23. Lots of strikeouts though. But again, too many hits, too many power shots, kind of like DL, kind of the same problem. Giving up too many long balls. Chas McDermott has been good this year. 3.4 record, but 2.68 ERA, 53 strikeouts. He's been their best pitcher, one of the best pitchers down there in Bowie. And Justin Armbruster. I would say one more thing about Chance. I did want to mention this. When I see him like this, I'm gonna go real old school on you. Mike Boddicker. See a lot of him. Like the dissection and the ball comes at you harder than when you think it is. Good curveball. A lot of potential there. Justin Armbruster coming around this year. Kind of not been super duper this year, and he still has a chance to get to the majors. I think he's a little old, 24 for the second, but starting to come along. Really throws hard. Overpowering a lot of those young hitters at Bowie. So definitely keep an eye on him with the way he's performing. Definitely has a shot to get to Norfolk. So there you go. So we definitely went over that. The Bowie Bay Sox, minor league performers. So definitely keep that in mind. Bowie not as well. I think the pitching prospects again, not as well. Povich kind of struggling. 2 guys. McDermott, I think is definitely a prospect, and it's definitely an opportunity for pitchers to come up. So definitely keep that in mind. Orioles report. Orioles injuries piling up a little bit. We got Gunnar Henderson, kind of what had the thing day to day. Cedric Mullins, last week he got injured. A couple guys, a lot of looking kind of like a B lineup a little bit. However, they've still been winning, regardless. Aaron Hicks comes out and plays very well for the start. Aaron Hicks I thought looked really good. Mateo has been struggling. Santander has really come around, really kind of bounced back from kind of a slow start, a mediocre start. Pitching has been good. I thought Tyler Wells was. I thought he had his best start most recently. Tyler Wells was very very good. Um, the only criticism I have of Wells is he really doesn't go late in games, and he really really did go late in games. So good for him. Tyler Wells goes was very good in that start. Mentioned that Santander heating up. Wins over the Giants. Giants look about like I thought, like average. They look good one game and then they look good and they got Cream and Alex Cobb they had for them was former Oriole, looked okay, I guess. I thought I think the Orioles really are one of the best teams in all of baseball this year. Starting pitching, I think, is really starting to round out. Gibson looks like you got starters. Your good starters. You got three good starters. You got Kyle Gibson. You got Dean Kramer. You got Tyler Wells. They've been very good. Bradish. I've been going on Bradish for a while. Good Bradish. You got bad Bradish. Kyle Bradish has been good, and then he's last start was you know he didn't give up a lot of runs, but they kind of took him out after 4 innings, so he wasn't quite as good. The bullpen has been phenomenal all year. I think they've been kind of even turning it back around the last couple games I've seen. So that's good. So I'm not worried at all about the bullpen. I think their top 2 guys, Cano and Batista, good luck with that. They're pretty much they're nasty boy like. The Cincinnati Reds years ago, they used to have this group, Norm Charlton, Rob Dibble, and Randy Myers. Randy Myers didn't pitch for the Orioles for a while, but they used to call them nasty boys, and it was called a 7-inning game because if you got to the 7th inning, it was over. Because those 3 guys were going to come in and you weren't going to win. And I think the Orioles have a little bit of that now. Like, good luck. I mean, if Cano gets in the game, that's it. You're not winning that game. So bullpen is definitely the strength for them as well. So definitely like to see this go ahead and continue. James McCann kind of started today. Adley though is fantastic. Adley Rushman has been, it would be criminal if he doesn't start in the All-Star game. So I think him and Batista are absolute locks as starters in the All-Star game. So absolutely, we're hoping for that. All right. So thank you very much. I'm recording this a little bit early this week. So you're watching it on the same day. It's going to recording this week. Next week, I think I mentioned this last week on a personal note. I am in the middle of a move right now. So I'm not sure if I can do a podcast next week, a whole podcast. So we will definitely keep an eye on that. Hopefully, because I don't know what the Wi-Fi situation is going to be in maybe a week or 2 or a couple weeks before we actually do it. I may have to move locations and do it, so we'll see how that goes. Definitely. But thank you this week for watching us on the Ravorisports Sports Podcast, the Baltimore Sports Podcast. Thank you very much. And thank you for growing our audience. Thank you for growing our community. I have seen the growth here. Do I have 8 million subscribers? No. Do I have Pat Matt? No. You do anything like this, you're truly grateful for anybody that's watching or takes the time to comment on my Facebook page, take the time to comment on the Twitter page, takes the time to watch a 1 second of the video. Thank you. Thank you very much for doing that. Y'all have a great